everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 144. Today I'm going to talk about I'm the Boss, the card game. This is a new release from Griffin Games. And there's a board game called I'm the Boss by Sid Sackson, who's sort of the godfather or grandfather of board games. And so this is basically a cardboard version of the board game I'm the Boss. It plays really quickly. It plays, let's see, 3 to 6 players. And it's very fun. I know I'm going to review it before I tell you how it works. It's very simple. There's been a couple of games this year that my lunchtime group specifically has really enjoyed and just had a blast playing. And this is one of them. So let me show you how it works and I'll tell you a little bit more about what I think. Okay, here's everything that comes in the game. You can see you got your money here, and these are these nice little money cards. Each player is going to start with 50 bucks. You're going to have this giant stack of cards, and depending on the number of players, you're going to deal out a certain number of these to start the game. And then we've got these pass tokens here. So each player is going to get 2 of these. You can see they say I'm in there. So as the play goes around the table, you can basically like pass once and then again, and then that'll put you out of the round. You can also do what's called a double pass and pass both on one turn, just to take yourself completely out of the round if you got nothing to do or don't feel comfortable with how the round's going to turn out. We've got a boss token here, and so this is basically the start player, so to speak, and this is going to go around the table. So maybe for the first turn I'll be the boss, and then if we're playing, let's say, a 4-player game, you're going to play until this has gone around the table twice. And the boss is always going to sort of lead the deal or lead the trick, as it were. It's not a trick-taking game, but it has some similarities. The boss is also going to be given these cousin tokens here, and I'll explain these. And other players are going to negotiate to get these handed out to them, or possibly not to get them handed out to them. And then we've got these multipliers here. So we're going to take 2 of these X's, and we're going to shuffle them in the deck, and then we're going to put one of them face down with the 2X multiplier on top. And this is going to basically multiply whatever the pot is. Players are going to be playing cards into the center of the table to build up or destroy the pot. And as these multipliers come out, the game's going to start multiplying the pot by 2. Once you pull an X, it'll go up by 3, 4, and then once you go through the deck once, you're going to take this other X here, shuffle it in the deck, and then possibly if this one comes out, then you'll be multiplying whatever the pot is by 5. So how is a round going to work? Well, you can see here, this boss is going to start off. He's going to lead a card from his hand. Now, there's 3 colors of cards. You've got purple, green, and then red here. And there's also some wild cards, and these can act as any color. Now the boss doesn't have to lead with a card, he can just name a color, but if he has a card of that color, he's got to play it. You can't just name purple and then have a bunch of purple. So if you've got a purple and you want the pot to be purple, then you've got to play it. So if he puts this card out, he's going to throw out a purple card. And you can see this one is -3, so now the pot's at -3. So the boss would not want to do that because the boss is basically in for a stake, okay? If you have the boss token, you're in for the stake. You can't do anything about that. So what he might have done is, let's say he would lead with green here in this case. He'll throw that out, +3. So now the pot's at +3. Now, the only cards that can be played are green cards. So we're going to keep going around the table. People are going to be playing green cards, maybe adding a little bit to the pot. If you don't like what's in the pot, maybe you're going to throw in this -4, so that puts the pot back to 0. Now, you're going to go around and around until everybody is passed out. So if it comes back to me and I don't really like what I'm seeing, I'm a little bit nervous, I can pass once, as I said, and then it's going to come around again, and if I'm still don't really like what I'm seeing or I'm kind of done playing, then I can pass again, then I'm out for the round. Like I said before, if it comes to you and you really just want to get out, you can double pass and then you're out. Now the key with passing out, once you've passed twice, is nobody can play any cards on you. Now we've seen cards here modifying the pot here, positive or negative, but you can actually also play cards on other players. So the other types of cards in the game, besides ones that are just positive and negative, are these cards here. Now this one is a piece of the action card. So if I put this in front of myself, let's say I was the boss here and had this in front of myself, then I'd be in for 2 stakes. So whatever the pot ended up being, I'll explain the scoring here in a second, you're going to get twice 2 of those. So I could get 1 for being the boss and 1 for each piece of the action card in front of me. If I wasn't the boss, then I could go ahead and play a piece of the action card, and then now I'm in for the stake. The other way that you get in on the pot are these cousin tokens here. And so the boss, depending on the number of players, will have 2 cousin tokens in front of them. And so Billy on the right, maybe he says, if I've got this +3, I'll put this in if you give me a cousin token. So he'll hand him the cousin token. And then I can give this other cousin token to somebody else. You can never give 2 to anybody, and then if you keep them, you're not in for any more stakes. They're there to be dealt out to the other players to get them to help you build this pot up. So you're going to get paid out basically for each cousin token in front of you, and for each piece of the action. And if you're the boss, you're already in for a stake. The other type of card is this positive negative, and this is a card that you'll play on a player. So this will basically reverse whatever the pot is. So in this case, the pot is 0. It's not going to do any difference. But if this card was played, we'd be at +4, and then another player could play this on me. Let's say I'm the boss. I've got in for 2 stakes here, boss and piece of the action. Somebody plays this on me. Now I'm getting the reverse of whatever's in here. So I'm actually going to lose -4, because the -4 is what the pot is now worth for me because I have this played in front of me. And I'm actually going to lose that twice, piece of the action and the boss. So I'm going to be real careful with that. However, if I had passed, then I could not have this played on me. So, and also you can't have a piece of the action played on me. So let's say I was in like so, and I was in a bad way here. I'm in for a stake already. It's negative. It's -4. But I've passed twice. Nobody can't add another piece of the action to make me have even worse of a stake in this pot. So you may want to pass out if you feel like now you're kind of vulnerable. Finally, the last cards are these move cards. And you'll see this got these little card movements here, and there'll be a 1, 2, or 3. When you play this, you have to move that many cards. And again, if you're past here, you can't, have any cards moved onto you or away from you. So if I had played this card, I could move up to 3 cards. I have to move at least 3. So the cards that you can move, you can take any cards from the center of the pot and discard them. So if I wanted to, I could take this one, and this one and move them out. Or I could use one of the moves to move one of my cards to the discard pile, or a card in front of any player to the discard pile. Or if I wanted to, I can move any card in front of me or in front of anybody else and move it to another player. So if I played this, what I might do is, maybe take the 4 out here, move the positive negative over there, and then move like another piece of the action card somewhere else. So you got to be really careful not to get too involved in a bid sometimes, because you can have all the deal just kind of totally shift around based on these move cards. So let's say the deal is ended, everybody's passed twice, and this is the cards we've got in the middle here. So we've got +8. Well, you always take the amount in the middle and multiply it by 5. So now we've got 40. 8 times 5 is 40. And then you're going to multiply that number by whatever the x multiplier is. So to start the game, we're just going to have the 2x multiplier. So we've got 40 and then 80. And then you're going to basically get paid out, or sometimes pay into the bank, based on the number of pieces of the action that you have. So in my case, if I was the boss here, I would be getting 80 and then another 80 for my piece of the action. And this cousin would get 80. If he had any piece of the action cards, he'd get 80 for each of those. And then if the pot's negative, let's say this was -4 or something. So we'd multiply that by 5, it'd be -20 times the multiplier would be -40. So you have to pay -40 for each stake in the action you had. And then you just keep playing round by round. You play until everybody passes twice. You shift the boss marker to the left around the table. Like I said, in a 4-player game, you go around twice. 3-player game, you go around 3 times. 5- and 6-player game, you'll go around once. And then the stakes are going to get higher and higher as these multiplier cards come out. And that's it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the overview. This is a really, really simple game. But, man, we've been having a blast with this game. There's a lot of little kind of subtleties to it. So, you're going to kind of see as players maybe don't commit a whole lot to the pot right away. And as people sort of get familiar and see how much damage can be done to each other, you're going to tread a little bit carefully. So players may just play some piece of the action cards out, maybe put them on other players, kind of see what they do to affect the pot. You could come in strongly negative, and the boss isn't going to want that because they're in no matter what, at least for one stake. So you can really kind of draw people out, and really you can really reverse things on people too. If they get in really heavy, and then they got a bunch of pieces of the action, it's really positive, and then bam, you throw that positive negative thing on there. And I really like the whole thing of passing twice, because you kind of just say, okay, I kind of see how it is now. I'm going to pass once, see if it changes at all. And then once you pass out, then you're obviously safe, but the pot is still not safe. So if you're in and it's positive and somebody goes in and wrecks the pot, then there's nothing you can do about it. So I have usually an issue with these kinds of games, that we tend to play, these quick filler games, where it's a lot of these card games where you can really just hammer and just nail people. But this one I really enjoy as well, and my whole group enjoys, because it's like right out the gate, you're just like, you know you're out to screw each other. And you're out to basically damage the leader. And if somebody has been bankrupted on a previous turn, which was going to happen, then you can kind of work with them, because you need to get their income back up, and work with them, and then maybe try to damage somebody that just raked in like $1,000 from a pot or something. Especially towards the end of the game, those pots get really big. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, we played this in about 45 minutes, and it's just a lot of fun. And I don't think we've laughed this much during a game in quite a while. So this is one of the games that we just keep playing and playing and playing. We've played it several times already. So I would definitely recommend it. I mean, if you don't want to get your feelings hurt in that whole thing, then don't. But this is a game that is just about seeing these dramatic reversals. Like some of these cards, you can move a bunch of cards and you think, oh man, I'm gonna get so much money, and then like boom, it blows up in your face and all the cards are moved over to Billy and he's getting all the money and he thinks he's got it, but then I lay a positive negative on him. And one thing I didn't mention is, like, if I have a positive negative in front of me and I'm basically getting the reverse of whatever the pot is, if I put another one on there, then they basically cancel each other out. So there's that as well. So you got to kind of be careful, with some of these real dramatic cards, and try to play them at the right moment. And also try to build up your cards round by round, because at the end of the round, you're going to be able to discard, 1 or 2 cards if you want, and then you draw back up to the hand size of like 8 or 10 or however many players it is. So you can kind of tread carefully as you go around the table, and try to build up strongly in a color, so that either when it becomes your turn to be the boss, you have a lot of influence, you'll have a lot of say in the outcome of that pot. Or if somebody else, pulls that color and you've got a nice hand of cards there, then you can have a lot of say on it as well. And that boss is really going to want that pot to do well also. And sometimes it's good just to get out. I've played it where I just, double pass and boom, I'm out of this one. So I don't want any part of it. So it's fun. I mean, it's really cool, it's simple, and it just plays quickly. And if you just want to have like a real kind of rollicking, kind of laughing good time, I would recommend this highly. So thanks.